The night sky over Earth was calm and full of stars. People looked up and saw nothing unusual. Then, at exactly 3:17 a.m. Eastern Time, something changed. A huge ship appeared high above the planet. It came without sound or warning. No bright engines, no glowing trail. One moment the space above North America was empty. The next moment, a perfect black triangle hung there, larger than any city on Earth. It blocked out the stars behind it like a hole cut in the sky. Satellites caught the first images. Radar stations screamed alarms. Missile batteries swung upward. In bunkers deep under mountains, red lights flashed. Phones rang in every capital city of the world. The ship did not move closer. It did not fire. It simply waited. Within minutes, leaders woke from sleep. In Washington, President Laura Bennett sat up in bed when her chief of staff knocked hard on the door. In Moscow, Beijing, London, Paris, New Delhi, and Tokyo, the same thing happened. Phones buzzed. Voices spoke quickly. Everyone asked the same question. Who are they? What do they want? The first message came at 3:42 a.m. It arrived on every radio frequency humans used. It came in clear English. A calm voice, not male or female, spoke slowly. We come in peace. We request dialogue with your governing authority. The message repeated every 30 seconds. No pictures, no extra words, just that one sentence, over and over. People in living rooms turned on televisions. News channels showed the same live feed, the dark triangle hanging motionless in orbit. Reporters spoke fast. Some sounded scared. Others tried to stay calm. Social media filled with videos taken from phones. People stood on rooftops and in streets, pointing cameras at the sky. Governments moved fast, but not together. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Diplomats argued over who should speak first. Russia said they would not accept any answer written by the Americans. China said the response must come from all major powers or none at all. France wanted a poetic message of welcome. Brazil asked why the aliens spoke English and not Portuguese or Spanish. In the White House Situation Room, President Bennett listened to her advisors. General Robert Klein from the Air Force wanted to raise DEFCON 2 right away. Admiral Lisa Grant from the Navy said the ship showed no hostile action yet. National Security Advisor Daniel Hayes rubbed his eyes and spoke quietly. They asked for our governing authority, he said. They used those exact words. They know something about us. The president looked at the screen. The black ship filled half the wall. It looked too perfect to be real. Do we even have a single governing authority? She asked. No one answered right away. Hours passed. The sun rose over different parts of the world. Morning light touched cities, still staring at the sky. The alien message kept repeating. People began to feel tired of waiting. At 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, the president made her decision. She walked to a secure room under the White House. Only a few people followed her. A microphone stood ready. A camera pointed at her face. Behind her, a simple blue wall. No flags, no seals, just her. She looked straight at the camera. This is Earth Authority, she said. Her voice was steady and clear. State your purpose and identity. The words went out on the same frequency the aliens used. They traveled fast into space. Everyone in the room held their breath. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then the repeating message stopped. The calm alien voice disappeared. The ship stayed exactly where it was, but now it was completely silent. No radio waves, no heat signature change, no movement at all. The perfect black triangle simply froze in place like a statue. In the Situation Room, screens showed analysts staring at empty data feeds. They stopped, one technician said. General Klein frowned. Did we scare them? President Bennett looked at the live orbital feed. The ship had not changed position by even 1 meter. Daniel Hayes leaned forward. Or maybe They didn't expect us to answer so fast. Around the world, people noticed the silence too. News anchors read updates with confused faces. Online forums filled with guesses. Some said the aliens left. Others said they were preparing to attack. A few wrote that Earth had passed some kind of test. In a small office at Cheyenne Mountain, a young Air Force officer named Kevin Brooks kept watching the same screen. He noticed something strange. The aliens had said governing authority in their first message. But no human government had ever used those two words together in any public speech or document. Not once. He wrote a quick note and sent it up the chain. Back in Washington, the president sat down with her team again. "What now?" she asked. Admiral Grant answered first. "We wait. They asked for dialogue. We gave them an answer. Now it's their turn." The room stayed quiet. Outside, the day moved on. People went to work, children went to school, but everyone kept looking up. The black triangle stayed in the sky, like a promise or a threat. No one knew what would happen next. But one thing was clear. For the first time in human history, when the stars called, Earth answered with one voice. And the aliens stopped talking. Aliens sent a hail, then froze when Earth Authority responded. Part 2. The black triangle stayed exactly where it was, high above Earth, not moving forward, not moving back. No lights blinked, no engines glowed. It looked like a drawing pinned to the sky. 3 full days passed like this. People on the ground started to feel strange. At first, everyone stared up in fear or wonder. Now the fear mixed with boredom. The ship did nothing, so life tried to go on. Shops opened, cars drove, children played in parks, but eyes kept lifting to the sky every few minutes, just to check. News channels ran the same pictures over and over. The triangle from different angles, from space telescopes, from fighter jets that flew close but stayed far enough to feel safe. Experts sat in bright studios and talked for hours. Some said the aliens were thinking. Some said they were scared. A few said the ship was dead and the crew was gone. In Washington, President Laura Bennett spent most of her time in the Situation Room. The lights stayed low. Coffee cups piled up on tables. Screens showed the same still image, the silent ship. Daniel Hayes, her national security advisor, sat next to her. He had not slept more than 3 hours since the message stopped. His tie hung loose. His eyes looked red. "They have not sent one word," he said. "Not even static." Laura looked at the big clock on the wall. 3 days, 4 hours, 21 minutes. Admiral Lisa Grant stood with arms crossed. "Our satellites see no change in heat, no radio leaks, no nothing. It's like the ship turned itself off." General Robert Klein shook his head. "Or they are watching us right now, waiting to see what we do next." Laura rubbed her forehead. "We answered their question. We said we are Earth Authority." If that scared them, what does that mean? No one had a good answer. Around the world, the same questions repeated. In London, Prime Minister Edward Cole spoke to Parliament. He said calm words, but his hands shook a little. In Beijing, leaders met behind closed doors. They wondered if the Americans had said something wrong on purpose. In Moscow, military bases stayed on high alert. Soldiers cleaned weapons they hoped they would never use. Ordinary people felt it too. In a small town in Ohio, a man named Brian Lucas stood on his porch every evening. He smoked a cigarette and stared at the triangle until it hurt his neck. His wife, Megan, brought him coffee. "It's not going anywhere," she said. He nodded, but did not look away. In schools, teachers tried to keep classes normal. But children drew pictures of the ship. Black triangles on white paper. Some added eyes. Some added guns. Teachers did not know what to say. Forums filled with theories. One popular post said the aliens expected a long argument between countries. When Earth answered fast and clear, it broke their plan. Another post claimed the ship was a probe sent by machines with no feelings. It froze because it had no program for one voice. A small group of scientists worked quietly in a building near Boston. Dr. Stephen Carter led them. He was a linguist with gray hair and calm eyes. His team included psychologists, historians, and 2 young coders who never left their computers. They played the short exchange again and again. Alien, we come in peace. We request dialogue with your governing authority. President, this is Earth Authority. State your purpose and identity. Stephen paused the audio. Listen to that phrase, governing authority. They said it first. We never used those words in any official way before. Not in treaties, not in speeches. Not even in secret papers that leaked. One of the coders, a woman named Rachel Evans, looked up from her screen. I checked databases. The closest match is old military training manuals. But even those say National Command Authority, never governing authority for the whole planet. Stephen leaned back in his chair. So they knew the term. They expected us to argue about who speaks for Earth. They expected delay, committees, translations, fights, over wording. Rachel nodded slowly. And we skipped all that. 4 minutes from their message to our answer. The room stayed quiet for a moment. Stephen spoke softly. Maybe we surprised them. Maybe no other species ever answered so quick. Maybe that's why they froze. Back in Washington, Laura Bennett received a report from Stephen's team. She read it twice. Then she called Daniel Hayes over. Look at this, she said. He read. His eyebrows went up. They used a phrase we did not teach them. Exactly, Laura said. They have been watching us. Long enough to know our politics. Long enough to expect chaos. Daniel sat down. Then why ask for a governing authority at all? Laura looked at the screen. The black ship still hung there. Perfect. Silent. Maybe, she said, they have met many worlds. And every time the answer came too late. Or too divided. Or not at all. Daniel rubbed his chin. So they come expecting failure. And we gave them something new. Laura stood up. She walked to the window but did not open the blinds. If that's true, then this silence is not fear. It's shock. Outside the White House, night fell again. Streetlights came on. People walked home from work. Some stopped and looked up. The triangle was still there. Still dark. Still still. In Cheyenne Mountain, Kevin Brooks sat at his station. He was the same young officer who noticed the odd phrase days ago. Now he watched new data. Tiny changes. Almost nothing. But something moved. One sensor picked up a faint heat bloom. Not from engines. Not from weapons. Just a small warm spot near the center of the ship. Like someone turned on a single light inside. Kevin typed fast. He sent the alert up the chain. In the situation room, a new alarm sounded. Soft, not urgent, but enough to make everyone look. Admiral Grant read the screen. Minimal thermal increase. Localized. No other activity. Laura stepped closer. After 3 days of nothing, Daniel Hayes smiled for the first time in days. Maybe they finished thinking. Laura nodded slowly. Or maybe they just decided what to say next. The room grew quiet again. Everyone stared at the feed. The black triangle looked the same. Inside that perfect shape, something had changed. The freeze was ending, and whatever came next, Earth would hear it with the same clear voice. 4 days had passed since the alien ship went silent. The black triangle still hung in the sky like a shadow no one could touch. People on Earth had started to get used to it. Some stopped looking up so often. Others still checked every hour. The world waited. Then, at 7:14 a.m. Eastern Time on the 4th day, the ship spoke again. The voice came through every speaker, every radio, every phone that was on. It sounded the same as before, calm and clear. But this time it spoke slower, almost careful, like someone choosing each word with great thought. Earth Authority. We did not expect direct command response from Planetary Unified Command. Our records indicate your species maintains fragmented governance. Clarification required. Do you speak as one? The words hung in the air. No one moved in the Situation Room. President Laura Bennett stood with her arms folded. She looked at the screen where the triangle waited. Then she nodded to the technician. The microphone opened. She spoke without notes. Her voice stayed steady. We speak as one when survival is at stake. You requested dialogue with our governing authority. You are addressing it. Proceed. The room stayed quiet after she finished. Everyone watched the feed. The ship did not answer right away. Minutes passed, then hours. The silence stretched long. 12 full hours went by. People ate lunch. They drank coffee. They whispered to each other. But no one left the room for long. At 7:32 p.m., the voice returned. Understood. Stand by for diplomatic package. That was all. Short. No extra words. A small shape detached from the bottom of the huge triangle. It looked like a smooth silver egg, no bigger than a car. It moved slowly at first. Then it picked up speed. It fell toward Earth on a straight line. Just a gentle curve that aimed for the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Satellites tracked it the whole way. Fighter jets scrambled from carriers in the ocean. Ships turned toward the drop point. Everyone watched the small silver object fall. It hit the water soft. No splash, no waves. It floated for a moment, like it weighed nothing. Then it sank a little and stayed still on the surface. Admiral Lisa Grant gave the order. Recovery team, go. A fast Navy boat raced across the water. Commander Ryan Ellis stood at the front. He was tall, with short brown hair and calm eyes. He had flown jets before. Now he led small teams into unknown things. Beside him stood Marine Captain Nicole Foster. She carried a rifle, but kept it low. Her face showed no fear, only focus. Behind them came Dr. Olivia Grant, a civilian scientist with short black hair and quick hands. She held a metal case full of tools. The boat slowed near the silver egg. It looked perfect. No windows, no marks at all. Ryan reached out with a long pole. The moment the pole touched it, the top opened like a flower. Soft blue light came out. Inside sat a small crystal block, no bigger than a book. It glowed faintly. Next to it was a thin stand with a tiny projector. Olivia stepped forward. That's the package. They lifted it carefully onto the boat. No one spoke much. The ride back to the carrier felt long. Waves rocked the boat. The sun set red over the water. On the deck of the carrier, under bright lights, they set the crystal on a table. Guards stood around in a circle. Cameras pointed from every angle. Olivia pressed a small button on the stand. The projector hummed. A hologram appeared above the table. Tall, clear, real enough to make people step back. The figure was thin and tall. Skin shimmered like oil on water. Eyes big and silver. No mouth moved, but the voice came from the hologram. We greet Earth. Ryan kept his hand near his sidearm. Nicole shifted her feet. Olivia just stared. The hologram continued. We have watched your world for 800 of your years. We have seen many species reach your level. Tools, machines, flight, radio, space. Every time we sent our hail. Every time we waited. The hologram changed. Pictures appeared around the tall figure. Other worlds. Blue planets. Green planets. Red deserts. Cities in space. Ships like the Black Triangle. But no species ever answered as one. Their voices came slow, split by borders, by leaders who fought, by fear of each other. We waited days, weeks, years sometimes. Then we left. We marked them not ready. The picture showed ships leaving those worlds. Some worlds later showed fire. Others showed silence, empty cities, broken rings around planets. Your answer came in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. One voice, clear, no delay. We stopped to check. We were wrong. The hologram looked straight at the people on the deck. Even though it was only light, it felt like it saw them. You are the first. Olivia swallowed. Why us? Why now? The figure tilted its head. Because you proved you can speak together when it matters most. That is the test we give. Many fail. You passed. Ryan spoke up. His voice stayed low. What happens now? The hologram paused. We offer contact. Real contact. But first, you must decide. The galaxy is large. Not all who live in it are kind. Some take, some destroy. Divided worlds fall fast. Unified voices survive longer. The blue light grew brighter. We wait for your choice. The hologram faded. The crystal went dark. The projector turned off. On the carrier deck, no one moved for a long minute. Nicole looked at Ryan. They watched us for 800 years, and they think we're different. Olivia picked up the crystal carefully. We need to take this to Washington. The boat ride back felt different. The stars looked closer. The black triangle still waited high above. In the Situation Room, President Laura Bennett watched the live feed from the carrier. Daniel Hayes stood next to her. They called us the first, she said quietly. Daniel looked at the screen. The silver egg now sat safe on the ship. They have a whole library of failures, and we're not on it. Laura turned to her team. We need to talk to the world, all of it. This is bigger than one country now. Outside, night covered the ocean. The carrier lights burned bright. Above, the triangle waited, patient, silent again. But this time, the silence felt different. Not frozen, not afraid. It felt like waiting for an answer. And Earth had to give one. The silver egg sat on a table, inside a secure room on the aircraft carrier. Bright lights shone down. Guards stood at every door. Scientists in white coats moved carefully around it. The crystal block inside still looked quiet, but everyone knew it held something big. President Laura Bennett watched everything through a live video link from Washington. Her face stayed calm, but her hands gripped the edge of the table. Daniel Hayes sat beside her. Admiral Lisa Grant joined them on the screen from the ship. Open it again, Laura said. Dr. Olivia Grant stepped forward on the carrier. She touched the small stand. The projector hummed once more. Blue light filled the room. The tall, shimmering figure appeared. Its silver eyes looked around slowly, as if seeing every person there. We greet you again, the voice said. We are the Concordance. We come to show truth. The hologram raised one long hand. Pictures started to appear in the air around it. Not small images. Huge ones. They floated like windows to other places and times. First came a blue world, with 2 moons. Cities of glass rose high. Ships moved between them. The Concordance ship arrived above that world long ago. It sent the same message. We come in peace. We request dialogue with your governing authority. The pictures moved fast. On that blue world, leaders argued. One country wanted to answer alone. Another wanted weapons ready. Days passed. Weeks. Years. The alien ship waited. Then it left. The blue world kept growing. But later pictures showed fire, explosions, broken cities. In the end, only silence. Another world appeared. This one red and dry. Tall beings with many arms lived there. They built machines that flew between stars. The Concordance hail came again. The same words. Leaders met. They fought over who would speak. One group said wait. Another said attack. The ship stayed for months. Then it departed. No more signals came from it. Picture after picture showed the same story. Green planets. Purple gas giants with floating cities. Ice worlds with underground seas, dozens of them. All reached far into space. All got the hail. None answered as one. All failed the quiet test. The concordance always left. Some worlds died soon after. Others faded slow. The hologram spoke again. We have seen this many times. Division kills. Delay kills. Fear of each other kills faster than any enemy from the stars. The picture stopped. Only the tall figure remained. Your world is different, it said. When we sent our words, you answered in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. One voice. No fight over who speaks. No long debate. We thought our systems made an error. We stopped all signals to check. We found no error. We found you. Olivia Grant looked up at the figure. You watched us for 800 years? Yes, the voice answered. We watched from far away. We saw your wars, your borders, your many languages. We expected the same pattern. We prepared to leave again. Then your voice came clear and fast. Earth authorities spoke. We froze, because we did not believe it at first. Ryan Ellis, standing near the table, spoke up. What do you want from us now? The figure turned its head toward him. We offer a door, a way to join others who pass the test, a network that reaches across the galaxy, knowledge, trade, safety, but safety only for those who can speak as one when danger comes. The hologram showed new images, stars connected by thin lines of light, ships moving between them, worlds full of different beings living together, no wars between them, no borders that caused fights. But the galaxy holds danger too, the voice continued. Some groups take what they want. They find divided worlds easy prey. They come, they take, they leave ruins. Worlds that answer slow or split, fall first. Worlds that speak as one stand longer. Nicole Foster crossed her arms. So this is a test? It was a test, the figure said. You passed. Now we offer more. But you must choose. Keep your many voices for small things, or build one clear voice for the big things, for survival, for contact. The hologram dimmed a little. We do not force, we wait. Send your answer when ready. We will hear. The blue light faded. The figure vanished. The crystal went dark again. The room stayed quiet for a long time. People looked at each other. Some faces showed wonder. Some showed worry. Olivia touched the crystal gently, as if it might speak again on its own. On the video link, Laura Bennett leaned forward. Did everyone hear that? Daniel Hayes nodded. 800 years of watching, and we're the first who didn't make them wait. Admiral Grant spoke from the carrier. They showed us graves of other species. That's a warning. Laura looked away from the screen for a moment. She thought about the world outside. Cities full of people who still argued about small things every day. Nations that guarded their own power. But when the sky called, they had answered together. Just once. And it changed everything. We need to talk to everyone, she said. Not just us, the whole planet. Daniel agreed. A global summit, fast. Laura turned back to the camera. Get that crystal to land. Bring the team home. We have work to do. The connection ended. On the carrier, Ryan, Nicole, and Olivia packed the silver egg carefully. They placed it in a strong case. Guards walked with them to the helicopter. The blades turned. The helicopter lifted into the night sky. Above them, the black triangle still waited. No lights, no movement. But now it felt different. Not like a threat, more like a door left open. On the ground, people in every country watched news updates. They saw the same hologram pictures that played on the carrier. Worlds that failed, worlds that died, and their own world marked as different. In living rooms, bars, and streets, talk grew. Some people felt proud, others felt scared. But one thing became clear to many. For hundreds of years, humans fought each other, drew lines on maps, built walls. But when the stars asked a simple question, the answer came from one place, one voice. And the aliens noticed. The helicopter flew toward land. Below, the ocean looked dark and wide. Above, the triangle looked small against the stars. But the choice was coming. Earth had to decide what kind of voice it would keep. One voice for the small things, or one voice for everything that mattered. The crystal block from the aliens sat in a guarded room deep inside the White House. Lights stayed low. Screens showed live feeds from around the world. President Laura Bennett stood in front of a large map of Earth. Red lines marked the places where leaders would join the call soon. Daniel Hayes walked in with fresh coffee. His eyes looked tired but sharp. The summit starts in 1 hour. Every major country said yes, even the ones that never agree on anything. Laura nodded. Good, they saw the pictures. They know what happens to worlds that stay divided. Outside, the black triangle still floated high above the planet. It had not moved in days, but now its silence felt like patience. Like it waited for humans to finish talking among themselves one last time. The global summit began at exactly the set time. Screens filled with faces. Prime ministers, presidents, generals, scientists. Translators worked fast, so everyone could understand. The mood stayed serious. Laura spoke first. She kept her words short. We all saw the same thing. The concordance showed us what happened to others. They waited for one voice. Most never gave it. Those worlds paid a high price. We answered fast. We passed their test. Now they offer us a place among them, but only if we keep a unified voice for the big dangers, for contact, for defense. A leader from India spoke next. His voice came clear over the speakers. We have many languages, many beliefs. We do not want to lose that. But we also do not want to be alone when something comes from the stars that is not kind. The president of Brazil agreed. We can keep our flags, our songs, our ways, but when the sky calls again, we must answer as Earth, not as pieces. Arguments started. Some voices said it was too much power in one place. Others said it was the only way to stay safe. Hours passed. People drank water. They listened. In the end, a plan took shape. Not perfect, not easy, but clear. They would create Earth Authority as a real thing. Not just words spoken once. A small, permanent group. Leaders from every major region. Military officers, scientists, diplomats. They would meet often. They would train together. They would decide fast when the survival of the whole planet was at stake. For everything else, trade, laws, culture, nations would stay free. It was a narrow bridge, one voice for the stars, many voices for home. Laura looked at the screens. Do we agree? One by one, heads nodded. Some slow, some quick, but all said yes. The vote passed. Laura turned to Daniel. Send the message. A technician opened the channel to the same frequency the aliens used. Laura stood in front of the camera again. No notes, just her face and her words. This is Earth Authority. We accept your offer. We have formed a unified command for existential matters and first contact. We will speak as one when needed. We ask to begin the next steps. The message went out. Clean. Fast. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then the black triangle lit up. Not bright. Soft white lines ran along its edges. Like veins of light, waking up. The ship turned slowly. It pointed one sharp corner toward Earth. A new hologram appeared. Not over the ocean this time. It appeared above the United Nations building in New York. Huge, visible from streets below. People stopped walking. Cars pulled over. Phones lifted to record. The tall concordance figure stood in the sky. Its shimmering skin caught the sun. Its silver eyes looked down at the city. "We hear you, Earth Authority," it said. The voice carried over speakers in every language at once. "Your choice is recorded. Your structure meets our standard. Provisional membership is granted. Welcome to the Concordance Network." The figure raised both hands. A beam of soft light shot from the ship above. It touched the ground near the UN building. No heat, no wind, just light. When it faded, a small platform remained. Smooth, black, like a piece of the triangle brought down. "This is your first gate," the voice said. "Use it to send your representatives. We will teach, we will share, we will protect while you learn the ways of the wider galaxy." The hologram bowed slightly, a small gesture, but it felt real, respectful. Then it vanished. Above, the huge ship began to move, slow at first, then faster. It turned away from Earth. Lights along its sides flashed in patterns. Humans who watched thought it looked like a wave goodbye, or maybe a salute. The triangle grew smaller. It passed the moon, then farther, until it became a dark point among the stars. Then nothing. People stood in streets around the world. Some cheered, some cried. Some just stared at the empty sky where the ship had been for so long. In the White House, Laura sat down for the first time in hours. Daniel handed her a glass of water. "It's done," he said. She smiled a little. "No, it's starting." Outside her window, dawn came. The sun rose over Washington. Normal sounds returned. Birds, cars, voices. But everything felt different. Children went to school and talked about aliens, like they talked about new games. Workers built things and wondered what jobs might come from the stars. Scientists planned trips to the gate platform. Leaders met to choose the first team that would step through. In small towns and big cities, people looked up at the night sky again, not with fear this time, with something new. Pride, maybe hope. They knew the galaxy was big, dangerous in places, but they also knew something important. When it called, Earth answered as one, and the stars answered back. Years later, old people would tell stories to grandchildren. They would point to the sky and say, "I remember when the ship came. It waited. We spoke, and everything changed." The grandchildren would listen, then look up themselves, at the same stars, now a little less far away. Because one day, long ago, a few simple words crossed the dark. "This is Earth Authority.